My father found out the hard way why you never wrong a human. My name is Arastio de Lol Fodisco. Most people call me Arastio. My father was Mortisto de Lol Fodisco. Yes, I'm serious. I'm the eldest son of Mortisto. For those of you who aren't aware, Mortisto was the brutal, oppressive, paranoid, and slightly insane self-proclaimed emperor of the planet Disco. He would arrest people at random, especially aliens, traders, potential rivals, and even his own mother. Those who were arrested could have any number of fates before them, ranging from simple banishment to forced labor to being publicly executed. Mortisto ruled Disco for 53 years, and he killed an estimated 624 million people. He was widely feared and despised across the sector. Anyone who tried to remove him from power was publicly executed alongside their family, and anyone else suspected to have taken part in the plot. He would also select 200 people at random from a crowd. Typically he would do it if he felt they needed to be reminded of who he was, or if quotas weren't met. Sometimes, however, he did it just for fun. One such execution is how my father sealed his fate. 22 years into his reign, he did his random selection of the crowd, and it included a 9-year-old human child. The girl was dragged away crying from her screaming mother, and her father had to be beat down by 2 guards as he attempted to stop them from taking away his little girl. Mortisto was present and watched the scene play out. He decided to teach them a lesson. He ordered the guards to bring the girl's parents to the front of the crowd and made them watch as he himself slit the girl's throat. The guards returned the lifeless corpse of the little girl to her parents, and as her mother sobbed violently, holding her little girl, the father, a man named Orlin, glared at the Emperor. And in that hate-filled look was a promise of vengeance. Mortisto didn't see the glare, as it was raining, and not the best of light in the square. So he had the grieving parents and the dead child dragged out of his sight, so that other matters could be attended to. When Orlin got home, he immediately began crafting a plan to personally kill Mortisto. He didn't have any experience in espionage or combat. He was just a construction worker, but he used that to his advantage. He applied for, and was hired by, a construction company that was frequently favoured and commissioned by Mortisto to build things, such as statues and palaces. 12 years after being hired, Orlin had the opportunity he was waiting for. Mortisto commissioned the company Orlin worked at to build a pleasure palace. When he heard the news, Orlin was ecstatic. His plan was beginning to take shape. He was to be in charge of the team that would build the palace, and that was exactly what Orlin wanted. He went to his superiors and suggested that they put in a couple secret passages that Mortisto could use to escape if he ever got into trouble. His superiors liked the idea and brought it to Mortisto, who gave his approval quickly. Orlin then spent the next 13 years building the palace, which was a brilliant masterpiece of engineering and beauty. The palace had a diameter of 3 kilometers, and pierced into the clouds at 5 kilometers tall. It had close to 100 ornately crafted marble towers, thousands of rooms filled with exotic and expensive furniture, 24 courtyards of marvelous beauty, among other things. There were also 7 secret passages that Mortisto could use to escape. Orlin commissioned dozens of talented artists to paint beautiful art pieces, carve impressive statues, and grow beautiful gardens that would impress and please Mortisto. Mortisto was thoroughly pleased with Orlin's work, and he became a rich man. Orlin then spent the next 6 years working on other projects for the Emperor, and putting in the finishing touches of his plan. You see, Orlin had put in an 8th secret passage, and didn't tell Mortisto about it. He persuaded the other members of his team to keep quiet about it with bribes, and promises that he would kill the Emperor. He only had one shot at this, so he had to get this right. Orlin meticulously studied security patterns and had noticed that the guards slowly became more complacent as the years went by, as well as Mortisto becoming more relaxed and less alert when in the palace. Then, finally, all the pieces were in place. On a rainy night, Orlin snuck into the palace via the 8th passage that led right to the room that Mortisto slept in. Right before Orlin got to the room, Mortisto got up and went out to the balcony. Orlin quietly entered the room and snuck up behind the Emperor and beat him down with the butt of a rifle, the same way the guards had beat him down all those years ago. He then took the exact same knife that Mortisto had used all those years ago to kill his little girl, and slit the throat of the Emperor. It was only right before his death that Mortisto finally recognized who Orlin was. Orlin quickly and quietly retreated from the palace, using the 8th passage. The guards who stood outside Mortisto's room heard nothing, and prior to the Emperor's death, Orlin knocked out and tied up the guards who watched the cameras, so that when they came to, they would see the Emperor's corpse on the screens, and be able to do nothing about it. The next morning, the guards who stood outside the Emperor's room grew concerned, as Mortisto had not yet emerged. Their worry only grew as it became evening. Their commander was called, and he authorized the door to be cut open. And when they finally cut through the thick and durable door, they were greeted by the Emperor's corpse on the balcony, and a note in Mortisto's blood that read, "A promise of vengeance fulfilled."